This is page 4 of the financial worksheets. So this will be more simple interest, but this time on page 4, 5, and 6 you will have to convert the time to years. The reason you have to convert the time to years is because the rate is usually given as an annual percentage rate, so the time must match the time period for the rate, which is 1 year. So the time must be expressed as the same units as the rate. Okay, one other thing I want to point out before we start the problems is that the A is the end amount, but a lot of times they call it future value. So when they're asking for what is the future value, they're asking for the A. Okay, so let's look at number 1. It says Kaylin obtains a loan of $10,000 from her grandmother for 24 months at a simple interest rate of 5.4%. What is the interest on the loan? On your worksheet, these two questions are together. So what is the interest on the loan? What is the loan's future value? I separated them so that we would realize we needed to answer both questions. Okay, so she obtains a loan of $10,000. So that's the initial amount borrowed. So that's the principal from her grandmother for 24 months. That's given in months, not years. So we need to convert that to years, and hopefully you know that's 2 years, but the way we would get that is there are 12 months in a year, so you would divide that by 12 to get 2 years. So we're not going to use 24 for time, we're going to use 2 for time at a rate of 5.4%, which is, when you divide by 100, 0.054. All right, so now we're looking for the I, and we're looking for the A down here. So if we're looking for the interest, then we're going to use I equals PRT to find it. So the principal is $10,000, the rate is 0.054, and the time you must use 2, not 24, for years and not months. Multiply all that together, and you will get 1,080. So the interest on the loan is 1,080. What is the loan's future value? So we're going to use the top formula. We know the principal, we know the interest. You could use this one, but we know the principal and interest, so all we're going to have to do is add those. So my principal is 10,000. My interest is 1,080. Add those together and I will get $11,080 for my future value. Again, future value denotes A. Okay, let's look at number 2. So number 2 says you borrow $530 for 100 days at a simple interest rate of 6%. What is the loan's future value? So we're borrowing $530. So that's the principal. That's the amount we borrow at the beginning. 100 days has to be converted to years. So there are 365 days in a year. So you divide 100 by 365. So 100 over 365 is what we're going to plug into the formula. If you want to change that to a decimal, that's fine, but I'm assuming that if you did that, you would have a really long decimal, so it would be more concise to leave it as a fraction. In these problems, you do not want to round until the very end, so it will be easier to type in the fraction than the decimal, so we'll leave that as a fraction. All right, so our time was 100 over 365. Our rate is 0.06. What is the loan's future value? Future value means you're looking for the A. All right, so I'm going to use this formula. I could find the interest first and then add the principal and interest to find the A. That would work. Right. I probably would use this formula. We'll go straight to it instead of 2 steps. but either is correct. So the principal is 530. Then I'll have 1 plus the rate of 0.06. The time I will leave in fraction form. Right, so when I put that into my calculator, I'll have 530 times 1 plus 0.06 times 100 over 365. And then I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth because it is money. So $538.71. And again, you could have found the interest first, then add the principal and interest to get the future value. Number 3 says find the simple interest owed if $390 is borrowed at 2.1% for 7.5 years. This time is already given in years. It's not a whole number of years, but it's still in years. You will not have to convert that one because it's already in years. All right, so we want to find the simple interest owed. If we're going to borrow the $390, or let me go back to this. Find the simple interest owed. So you're looking for the interest. If $390 is borrowed, so the amount you're borrowing is the beginning amount at 2.1%. So we'll change that to a decimal. For 7.5 years, this is already given in years. You don't have to convert. All right, so we're looking for the simple interest owed. So I'm going to use I equals PRT. So my principal is 390. My rate is 0.021. My time is 7.5. Multiply it all together, and you will get $61.43. Let's look at number 4. Number 4 says, how much should you invest at 4.3% simple interest in order to earn $100 interest in 5 months? So how much should you invest? You're looking for the principal, the beginning amount to put in order, invest at 4.3%. So change that to a decimal. Simple interest in order to earn $100 interest. So this is the amount you want to earn, not the end amount. So that's the I. In 5 months. So 5 months would have to be converted to years. There's 12 months in a year, so you have to divide it by 12. 5/12 of a year is the same as 5 months. Okay, so let's find our P0. Okay, I could not use the future value formulas because I don't know A or P0. The only missing variable in this one is the P0. I do know the I, the R, and the T. Okay, so the 100 is the I. I'm looking for the principal. The rate is 0.043. The time is 5/12. So I would multiply the 0.0543 times 5 divided by 12. Right. On this one, do not round until the very end. So this is 0.017916 repeating. So when I divide by this, I'm going to do 100 divided by, instead of retyping it, I'm going to use second negative, so divided by answer. Sometimes if your calculator will let you go back up and highlight that, you can do that instead of answer. Some of the older calculators won't let you go back and highlight that. Right? If it don't let you highlight, go back up, then do 100 divided by answer. Right? So your principal will be 5,581.40. So again, do not round into the very end. Right, number 5 You borrow 1,000 from your cousin and agree to pay back 1,100 in 6 months. What is the simple interest rate you will pay? So this is the beginning amount you're going to borrow. So it's the principal. You agree to pay back 1,100, so that's the total you're paying back. That's the future value or the end amount. This is 6 months, so you have to divide that by 12. So you could use 6/12 of a year, you could use 1/2 of a year, or you could use 0.5 years. Any of those will work. What is the simple interest rate you will pay? So you're looking for the rate. We can use either of these formulas. If I'm going to use I equals PRT, I have to subtract the future and beginning amounts to get the interest. So I'd have to subtract those to get 100 for the I. The principal is 1,000. The rate is what I'm looking for. The time, I can use any of those. So I'm going to use 6/12. So then I would multiply the 100 and the 6/12 to get 500. Divide by the 500. And you'll get 0.2. Change that rate to a percent by multiplying by 100, 20%. If I chose to do this formula, that future value is 1,100, P is 1,000, and we'll have 1 plus the rate is unknown. Now this time it don't matter, I can use 6/12, 1/2, or 0.5, I'll use 0.5. Okay, these are not like terms, you cannot add those, so you have to distribute. So we get 1,000, you multiply that in, you get 500, subtract the 1,000 over, get 100 equals 500 divided by R, and again comes out to 0.2, multiply by 100 to get 20%.